Welcome back to Two Who's Review. I'm Alex,
I'm Fitz.
and today we're hang on, Fitz. Something's wrong. There's a third person in the call, but there should definitely only be two. I don't understand this.
It's called Two Who's Review. What the fuck's going on now?
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, we've had guests before, but this doesn't seem like the same thing. Who is that?
It is exactly what everyone who read the title of this video on YouTube is expecting it to be. It is me
What?
again.
But last week we
Wow.
specifically said there'd just be two of us again. What's going on?
Your acting's terrible, Cuff.
I'm not trying to put on a fucking Oscar-worthy performance here.
I know. It's just very... I don't know. Anyway. The point is, we have a guest once again.
Yes, after the last recording session that we did, in which we did Partners in Crime and Time with the Rani, Sam went ahead and did what she said she might do. She watched back the whole of Series 4, and then promptly said in the group chat, you know what? I wouldn't mind joining you guys for the rest of this. And we said, cool.
That's how it works.
For the foreseeable future, unless something unforeseen happens, Sam will be joining us.
Yeah. So as of right now, I've rewatched all of Series 4. I didn't immediately, but I am going to watch the specials again.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'll come on for all of them on this show, but
that's fine.
Yeah. But yes.
Was there a specific thing that prompted you to be like, no, you know what? It's not just individual episodes. I want to be here for this entire thing.
Well, not to put too fine a point on it, but I watched the season and I was like, wow, there are no bad episodes in this whole fucking season.
I don't know about that.
I mean, I'm not going to say they're all like 9 or 10 out of 10s, but
sure.
I think even the worst one is still pretty good.
I suppose
it was a pretty solid season.
Well, we'll discover that in due time. Because today specifically, we're talking about the Fires of Pompeii. Donna Noble's first proper adventure in the TARDIS. And what a fucking jaunt this one is.
Yeah, it's it's solid, and I was, because it's been years since I've seen the episode, but I was pleasantly surprised by how intense it gets, and it's not just because it's about the eruption of Vesuvius.
Yeah, and maybe
although that's definitely part of it.
Well, yeah, and maybe it is just because Donna has some familiarity with how this works by this point. Like, she's not like the concept of time and space travel isn't foreign to her. But like thinking back on Rose and Martha's first adventures in the TARDIS, granted, Rose witnessed the end of the world, but like there were funny colored aliens running around. There were trees. There was the face of Bo. All these wacky creatures. So like there was a bit of a lighthearted feel to it. Martha got to meet Shakespeare. Granted, the quality of that adventure notwithstanding, but like it was definitely a more lighthearted affair. Donna gets Vesuvius.
Yeah.
I think the show has realized by this point we don't need to do like a lighthearted introductory adventure to introduce a companion because our audience gets the deal by now. We can just launch in with just like any old Doctor Who story. We don't have to tame it down to wean the companion onto the hard stuff.
Well, it evolves into very serious moral questions, which Doctor Who certainly isn't afraid of doing, but for so early in a season is, I think, kind of uncommon.
Well, what I love about it as well is that it really piggybacks off of the the mission statement from the end of Runaway Bride. You know, with Donna holding the Doctor to accountability and, you know, saying, you know what, you need someone. I love that didn't get dropped in the process of translating her to a full-on companion. Like, they didn't... They softened her engines a bit, but it didn't take away the edge. She's still there to be like, no, Doctor, this is wrong. like, you know,
Yeah, for sure.
this is where I draw my line in the ash, so to speak.
Like,
Yeah.
after having rewatched the season, I feel like the character trait for Donna that everyone like zeroes in on is like her sassiness, and I think that's largely just because when she's
She's
being
the only
sassy,
one.
we get like quotable moments that people can be like, "Ah, remember
Yes.
when Donna said this?" And like, it's good, but
But that's not the
It's
point.
having come away from the season, I think sassiness is definitely a part, but I think Donna's two defining character traits are that she is street smart in a way that the Doctor just isn't,
Mhm.
and that she is extremely empathetic.
Yes.
Hmm.
100%.
And
Like
that
those
both
more than anything are her defining traits to me.
and both of those things translate into an independent streak that one is very endearing, but I imagine it would be easy to sort of mess that up because obviously, like, it's really great when you have characters challenging the Doctor, but the thing with Donner is that consistent challenging of him is grounded in, as you say, Sam, this really strong sense of empathy, coupled with a need to sort of cut through these sort of highfalutin bullshit that the Doctor can get wrapped up in. I mean, because look, there is a logic to not want to fuck around with the timeline because, you know, it's Doctor Who. We know that that can have devastating consequences. But it's really great that the story arc for the Doctor is being worked through even at this early juncture. Especially when you have Donna saying that, oh, so like you're the only Time Lord, and that makes it all right. Is that? I mean, I'm paraphrasing that, but that's basically what she says, and that's the culmination, I think, of those two things. So I think you're totally right, Sam. It's the street smarts and the courage combined with the emotional depth.
Well, I'll tell you what
That
else is everyone loves to like um something like one like you mentioned, one of the most quotable aspects of Donna is that she can get pretty hot-headed sometimes, and she can sass and she can be stubborn. But something
Yeah.
that was highlighted to me on this viewing was how level-headed she is in a crisis.
Mm.
And I bring it back to a and I don't want to play I don't want to play to type, but I bring it back to a Rose moment that I remember talking about not liking from the end of season 2, when she doesn't think for a second about staying with the Doctor instead of staying with her family in the alternate universe. She just like
Mhm.
doesn't think about it for a moment. And I remember at the time being like, that's not a strong character. That is someone who is blinded by a crush. But here, the Doctor says to Donna, if we do this, we will die in this volcano. And you can fucking see Donna actually process the information. She's got tears in her eyes by this point. She takes a moment, she breathes in, she calms, she takes a breath, and then she goes, never mind us. What about everyone else? And it's like,
Yeah.
that is so much better. It's
Mm.
so much better to see the characters work through the difficult decisions rather than just having them do it. I love that so much more.
Like not to get too far ahead, but like
Yeah.
this is just something we're going to have to get used to. I'm going to be looking at this from the perspective of having rewatched the whole season in one go.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm going to be looking ahead a lot. But
I guess
like,
that's a unique viewpoint that we have on this. Like normally we
Yeah,
do a
it's
little bit of
interesting.
that,
Sure.
but it's normally not so pressing and present in our minds.
yeah. Like it's to the point that I think the reason Donna was not in most of Midnight, like narratively, is she would have fixed it.
She would have fixed it. Absolutely, yeah. Well,
She
the whole
she
point of
would have
Midnight,
like talked everyone down and kept everyone calm.
the whole
Mhm.
point of Midnight is it takes the Doctor's strengths and makes them his weakness, and you can't do that with a
Exactly.
companion in the mix.
Yeah. Especially one as level-headed as Donna, that again has a very useful tendency to cut through some of the Doctor's bullshit, because it's interesting. Like, I've complained before about some of the over mythologizing of the Doctor, particularly in the Moffat era, and there is incidentally a tiny bit of that here that
They literally
bordered
become
on
household gods.
well, not only that, but like there's just other little lines that sort of almost got on my nerves. But part of I think the big story arc for the Doctor in this season is showing the consequences of that mythologizing, and shows how he himself feels it as the last Time Lord. And it's important that we have a companion like Donna who can really take him down a few pegs, bring him, pardon the expression, back to Earth, so to speak, and sort of reckon with his place in the universe, I guess.
Let's take it back to the top of the episode for a moment. Not to but we don't want to go through the whole meaty ending before we have our appetizers, so to speak. Rome is not Rome, but the time period of ancient Rome is a lovely backdrop for any story, as far as I'm concerned, especially for Doctor Who. Like, the show's obviously been to ancient Rome in the past. There was literally a classic era story called The Romans, but we haven't seen it in New Who yet, and it's nice to have something like this. It's a bit further back in Earth history than we're used to seeing, which I quite like. And again, it's picking Vesuvius and Pompeii specifically is just great because, it's literally a powder keg. From the moment they land, from the moment the title sequence hits, like you know how it's going to end, and you can see it coming. It's like looming. Ironically, the characters in the episode can't see it coming, but we, the audience, know what's going to happen, and it's like it's a lovely layer of dramatic irony.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best examples of dramatic irony I've seen.
Yeah,
in certainly a long time.
It runs through the entire thing, where it's like anytime you start to get attached to a character, there's just something in your back of your mind going, well, don't bother. We know what's going to happen to him. Like that North Londoner seller at the beginning on the street who's who's me know a speaker Celtic, and the guy who sells the TARDIS to Caecilius, like, he had a limited screen time, but it was a very very enjoyable character to watch. And even then being like, when he shows up at the end, he's like, oh yeah, fuck. God damn.
He's gone too.
Yeah.
No more lovely jubbly.
Lovely jubbly, so yeah, that's a classic Roman. I wonder what he said in Latin to get translated into lovely jubbly.
Loveliest jubbliest. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's probably right. That's probably it, yeah. This episode is also notable for having two Scottish actors who would go on to play more pivotal roles in the show.
Yeah, did you guys notice? I just want to point this out. You may not feel the same way. Caecilius, he really looked like Peter Capaldi. Am I the only one who's picking that up? Because it just...
I don't know. I mean, it's difficult for me to tell without him swearing at everything that moves.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the haircut.
And I swear I recognize one of those soothsayers, but that may just be... I think I'm confusing them with a blue-faced Marvel alien. I'm not sure.
How many feigning ignorance bits are we going to do this episode?
It's surprisingly common in the entire podcast. Like, thinking back, we do it quite a lot.
But like
most of
this
it
is like two within 10 minutes of each other.
Yeah, that's true. That's
fucking pace yourselves.
That's just because I'm trying to be a dickhead. But
I'm also willing to be the bigger man here. Excellent acting job there, Fitz. You really had me convinced that you didn't know who Peter Capaldi was. So top marks to you. I would never think to belittle your acting ability, especially in a public forum like this. So good job. Yes, Karen Gillan and Peter Capaldi are in this story. Both of go on.
I think this is the first time I've seen this episode since knowing Karen Gillan was in it.
Yeah.
And I was caught off guard by how much she's in it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's still a pretty minor role. She only has, like, I would say maybe 2 scenes at that. But I was like, wow, that's a lot.
It is.
That's a very English accent you're doing. That's more off-putting than anything.
Here's something interesting. I know I just joked about that for the last 5 minutes, but I genuinely did not know that Karen Gillan was in this episode. Granted, maybe that's because I couldn't see her flaming red hair, but still.
Yeah, I think Karen Gillan's appearance in this it's like more notable and like obvious once you know that she's in it.
Yeah.
Like you look at the first soothsayer that appears and you go, oh, I recognize that bone structure anywhere. That's Karen Gillan. It's a bit harder to miss Peter Capaldi given he has such a prominent role and his face fills 90% of the frame when he first appears.
And they went back and canonized.
They canonized it, yeah.
The connection.
Well, I feel like they had to, right? It's not the same thing as like, it's not the same thing as like a character like the soothsayer in this with their face covered in like the makeup and stuff. Like you don't have to draw a link between her and Amy Pond. They did it with Martha by saying I've got a cousin in Canary Wharf. And they also do it with Gwen Cooper and Torchwood. And they do. They link it back to the Unquiet Dead later on. They don't feel the need to do the same thing with Colin Baker's Doctor in the classic era.
I was going to say, how do they explain that one?
Although I think I said at the time when we reviewed that episode, it's just like sometimes the Doctor, especially recently, the Doctor regenerates specifically to tell himself something. He regenerated into the 14th Doctor to tell himself to take a break and be with family. He regenerated into the 12th Doctor to hold himself to a higher standard. And I guess he regenerated into the 6th Doctor to be like, oh, I quite liked that face. I'm going to be all vain about it for a while.
I was going to say, what the fuck was he learning by turning into the 6th Doctor?
He was learning
in the TV
wonders.
He saw what Anthony Ainley Master did and was like, yeah, I could steal someone's face.
He was learning about the wonders of bi-curiosity by being like, I quite fancied that Time Lord. I'm going to explore it in unhealthy ways.
What about that makes him bisexual?
The bi-curiosity itself is not unhealthy. It's the level of arrogance and vanity that comes with taking that form that is the problem.
But specifically what makes him bisexual?
The fact that he saw a Time Lord and went, "That's an awesome face. I want it." I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to read too deep into it. I'm just going to take it and be like,
yeah, fair enough.
And then love myself. Oh, I love this face. Oh, I love it so much. But let's bring it back to
so I was going to say we've now officially gotten into the weird part of the conversation. Fantastic. Good to know.
We've been skirting it for a while, you know that. Caecilius and his family, they are... This is a family I would not be shocked to see this exact family in a BBC sitcom set in the ancient Roman era. And I think that was the point. I think like they do the whole, this is what all the girls are wearing in Rome thing. It's like a nuclear family in Pompeii, which I think is fun. But more than that, it helps make the family like more. It helps the audience attach themselves to the family more because they are so relatable.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure that there's many people out there who noted the family dynamics between like the golden child and the slack off sibling, and they could like be like, oh, I've been in one of these positions in the past. Like they could latch onto something like that.
And good character arcs for both of them because they both kind of almost swap that. Like Eleanor is able to take it a bit easier at the end, and Pontius becomes a doctor, which always becoming one, which is really kind of cool. But I think that technique, I don't know if there's a specific name for it, but I kind of call it that 70s show syndrome, in which you take people from a particular past and make them seem very similar to the way people interact today. And that's, it's a technique to say, oh, things weren't so different back then. People still did this, people still did that. A lot of the time I actually find that annoying, with that 70s show included, because I think it sort of, in a way, whitewashes the past by ignoring how shit it used to be. But in this case, it's actually really effective because of that ending and the... which we'll obviously get to, but basically it justifies it.
If it's like downplaying like the broader historical context of a period, sure. But if
Yeah.
it's just like actual individual people, like
Mhm.
there's the adage, people have always been people.
Yes.
Like it's like when you like you look at the old timey photographs where everyone looks all serious, and that's just because you had to hold your face for like 30 minutes to take a photograph.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they had like quicker ones, you'd see people like laughing and being silly and effectively taking selfies in like the fucking
That
1800s.
Or you see that those self-portraits of that dude from the 18th century doing ridiculous faces uh, for the paintings, which is true. I think your point there, Sando, is quite correct. For me, it is about sort of ignoring broader historical context. And you say that, people have always been people, but I think there are a lot of things that society thought was normal and just expected and accepted that we've now realized, oh, actually, that's a really shitty thing. Why don't we move on from that? But that's getting away from the main point.
Yeah.
The point is, it works well here. It's
Yeah, and when we talk
quite
about like,
effective.
I think what's also really helpful is that like, again, like it's just there's such not just relatability, but they're also like such big characters. Like they've got a lot going on. It's not just the family dynamic. It's the marble salesman who has aspirations of going to Rome, but is stuck in Pompeii. So he's sort of like dressing for the job he wants, and like despite the clear and present risk, insists on keeping massive marble statues and ceramics in a house that is frequently hit by earthquakes. Like it's such a great character quirk, and it makes for a lovely like not action sequence, but a lovely like bits where they're running around and stopping all the art from falling around. But it also is so like it's such a character defining interaction, and it's so like clear. You don't have to explain
And
it
for
any
like
more than that. It's just there.
for how little overall screen time in like the span of the entire show they get, like the fact that I have a fairly good idea how each individual family member feels about every other family member.
Yes.
I was like, I know what the dynamic is in every direction between these four people.
Yeah, it's
In
good
very like
characterization.
broad strokes, but like, you could watch like if you watched an episode of The Simpsons in isolation, depending on what episode, you could come away from it being like, I have no idea what the relationship between Bart and Marge is.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
Yes.
But yeah, I agree. I think it's just really good, solid characterization, and with the ability, like it shows rather than tells. As cliched as it is, it's very useful when it comes to character dynamics, especially one in as close knit a group as a family. And incidentally, the scene where I think that someone, I can't remember whether it's the mother or someone says, "I'll get into positions," which is to say that they need to brace all the precious artifacts in the house when there's an earthquake. It reminds me of the scene in Mary Poppins where they have to brace for the cannon firing from the weird sailor dude next door who's got a working ship, and they all stand there and hold all of the the fine china in the house. It's it's just funny.
It's interesting calling them artifacts as well when they're just art pieces. They're not artifacts yet. They haven't been unearthed from the distant past. They're just art.
Well, like he says when he brings the TARDIS in, he's like, I collect modern art.
Exactly, yeah.
Sure.
But what's also fantastic about the family is that like it's not even that clear on a first watch, but by the end of like maybe the second, it's so evident. It's like the 1 minute scene that they have at the end when they're back at Rome. In that 1 minute, it's so clear and evident the positive impact that the Doctor has had on all of them. Like we talked about
and Donna.
the son. We talked about the son, like being like getting a bit more responsibility, and Evelina being a bit more laid back, which is good for both of them in the long run. But there's also the parents. The parents have a much more positive of view of their son, and they're also a bit more protective of Evelina, as opposed to just being like, yeah, breathe in the vapors. We don't really care about your well-being as long as it like gives you a high standing in the city of Pompeii. That's what really matters. Like you can see the positive impacts, and again, it's like it's so clear in a 1-minute scene. It's really, really impressive character writing.
And even the smaller detail of when the mother tells Pontius, go and thank the family gods. Because initially it seems like just a moment of maintaining status, right? Like they're kind of paranoid of losing their standing in society. And it's like, oh, better go pray to the gods, better keep yourself safe. But in the second one, it's more a genuine expression of gratitude. It's like, oh, don't forget to thank the people who saved us and gave us this wonderful life. So even that was a really nice turnaround things.
It's so goddamn impressive.
The guy, what's the name of the writer of this? I keep forgetting.
I will bring it up. It is James Moran.
Did he write anything else for the show?
He wrote 2 episodes of Torchwood, but this was his only contribution to Doctor Who.
Right. Well, what a contribution it was.
Yeah. He wrote something called The Descendants of Pompeii, which is a webcast that was done for the COVID lockdown, where they did a bunch of like smaller things. And it's 2 characters, Evie and Maxine. I think they're supposedly descendants of this family, just from skimming this thing. I don't know. It's nice that he got to like jump back in for a little bit then to do something like that for the lockdown stuff.
And a funny thing is that I just realized, and maybe it's just a testament to how solid this season is, but this is shaping up to be a really good episode, but it's not even one that I remember a lot about. But again, maybe that's just because you've got introduction of Donna, you've got Waters of Mars, you've got the finale, which is pretty spectacular.
Midnight, Turn Left.
Yep.
Someone's in the library.
And the Sontaran episodes. Maybe it's just
it's underrated.
It's.
I think in any other season of the show, in any era, this would be a highlight episode.
Probably.
This would be a clear standout. And
I think probably in season 3, definitely in season 2.
Absolutely in season 2. I guess it just speaks to the quality of the show in this era that we get an episode like this, and it's just one of many good episodes. We can talk a bit more about the Pyrovillians, or the Pyroviles, or whatever they are. I love their design. I like that they've got Roman centurion helmets. It's just as a little Easter egg. I always forget the specifics of their plan, mainly because like the ending is so wrapped up in the Vesuvius of it all that like the full extent of the Pyrovile's plan is just kind of like yelled by Lucius in like a very quick exchange with the Doctor. But it's like they're using the circuit boards made of marble and powering them up with the energy of the mountain, and in doing so they'll be able to convert people into Pyroviles in the same way they've been doing it slowly through the vents. Am I getting that right?
Yeah, that
pretty much
sounds about right.
They want to. Pyrovillia mysteriously disappeared.
Second time.
I wonder where it went.
And they want to make a new Pyrovillia. Which reminds me of another thing. So, last couple of times I've been on, I've talked about how sick I am of the entire season of a Doctor Who show, like teasing, like, ooh, something's coming. There's gonna be a guy. Ooh, I wonder what's gonna happen. You'll have to tune in for the finale. And I realized watching this season, oh, actually, no, I'm not sick of that. I'm just sick of when it's bad.
Oh yeah, puzzle
It's the
boxes are
superhero
great.
fatigue thing.
Puzzle boxes are
Because
great
what
when they're
this
done
season
well.
does is it just like throws these like there are planets going missing. There's something on your back. Ooh,
The
like
bees are going.
The
yeah,
Medusa
the bees
cascade.
are disappearing, and just like these little things that are like I don't know what that means. They'll explain it later, I'm sure.
Well, I think the
That's going to
difference
mean
is that it's
something, and it's not like an old man in a wheelchair shows up at the end of every episode, being like, I wonder who I might be.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he pulls off his rubber mask to reveal he was Davros the whole time.
Do you
And
know? Do you
everyone is
know?
like, we know. Who else would it fucking have
Do,
been?
do you know what's funny? There is actually a big Finnish audio story that has a similar plot to that, where Davros is disguised using like a perception filter. But the reason it works there is because there's dramatic irony, because we and the Doctor know that it's Davros, because the Doctor doesn't have the perception filter on, so he knows from the get-go. And it's
I
just
imagine the
waiting for the
fact that it
bomb
is
to
audio
explode.
only also helps a lot.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I think the big
Oh,
difference
there's
in this
also
season.
voice filter, but anyway, yeah, the point
I think
taken.
yeah, but
I think the difference in this season is that it's not like a person or like a group that is being
yes.
teased. It's like an event.
I'd say the
Yeah.
closest thing to that is like we saw Rose at the end of the last episode,
Yeah.
and we will very briefly occasionally see her face on a TV screen like 2 or 3 times.
And
Yeah.
they
Like a
made
second at
brief
most. And
reference to her
then
in this episode as well.
yeah,
Yes.
but still.
I think also like thinking back now, and it's a season that I don't like particularly well, but I'm realizing another season that did this a bit better was series 8. Now, I'm not going to pretend that when Missy first appeared at the end of Deep Breath, no one was thinking that's the Master, because that was a very common theory. But there was
Yeah.
the added layer of these characters that we see die showing up in this place that someone is calling heaven. What the fuck is going on? And that was a bit harder to figure out, and no one did. Um, I think I'm realizing I think I prefer that style of long running season arc foreshadowing than I am at like Mr. Saxon references, or the hybrid is being referenced every now and then, or look, it's fucking Susan Twist, there she is again, what could this mean?
Or the Mrs. Flood was worse, because she showed up
Well,
at the end
yes.
of like every episode, and and also that reveal wound up being very disappointing. But yeah. Oh well.
But yeah, I think what's
Like yeah,
clever
like
about season 4.
Susan Twist was like at least somewhat subtle until it
Yeah.
became more and more obvious. But like
Yeah.
Mrs. Flood would literally turn to the camera and say, "I'm doing the plot now."
Yeah. Ooh, I'm
Tune
this
in
is
next
Shakespeare
week,
villain.
people at home who watched the TV show Doctor Who on Disney Plus.
Same
I
doc
think
time, same doc channel.
I think it's also a good strength of season 4 is that I think by this point we've had 3 seasons of like where's Wally style spot the thing in this episode that's going to be the long running arc. And so season 4 was like we're going to give you
Yeah.
like 5 and we're not going to draw particularly close attention to any of them.
Yep.
So spot which ones are important and why. And I think that's it made it more of like a puzzle than it was as like than it was like a word search. I think that's an interesting approach. Because again, like the 4th season in, you can't do the same thing, and if you do, everyone's going to be expecting it, and so it's a different take, and I like that.
Yeah.
I also thought this is maybe I'm over analyzing it, but at the very end when they talk about how people in Egypt like the image of scarabs, I thought like, is that a turn left reference? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I think it's just Egypt has scarabs.
Well, thanks for ruining the fun, Cuff.
You're welcome. I'm not having Two Who's review turn into one of those red arrow on the YouTube thumbnail like theory websites being like, oh, I wonder if this innocuous line could have any cultural
What was he
significance to the
cooking?
world of the show. What was he cooking? Mephisto confirmed. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Yeah, we wouldn't want to turn this into a Matt Pat sort of a situation. I don't think that'd be a bit frustrating.
Lucius Petrus Dexterous.
Yeah.
Our
He's not that
dumpy.
dexterous.
No, he's not that dexterous. No.
No.
He is pretty Petrus, though.
Yeah.
So, swings and roundabouts.
2 out of 3.
Actually, yeah, that. No, but actually. No, that makes sense. That Petrus is in petrified and Dexterous is in. Yeah.
Yeah, stone hand.
That's
stone hand Luke.
Almost, yes,
stone hand Luke.
Stone hand Luke.
Fucking A.
And it's really interesting because given the structure of the Pyrovile's plan, I would really expect the High Priestess of the Sibylline to be the main opposing antagonist working with the Pyroviles. And in a way she is. But it's Lucius who gets to scream inside the volcano what the master plan is and call for the deaths of everyone on planet Earth.
Well, I mean, the High Priestess is more of a victim than anything. She's been invaded by this sort of alien presence.
But because she's had more of it take over, she is closer to Pyrovile, so you're expecting her to be the final boss.
That's true.
It's Lucius. And I think I like the implication that the more it's not like it's a more subtle form of body snatching, where it's like the more stony you get, the more you become on board with the Pyrovile's plans. But I also think there's an element of Lucius is just a terrible person in general, so he's
like there's a clear theme of like patriarchal power.
Yes.
Like he is a shittier person because he is a man who has political power. And he's like, I'm better at seeing the future because I'm a dude, like that kind of shit. So it makes sense that he would be a more overt, just piece of shit.
Well, if you don't mind me getting a little bit poetic, in a way, that sort of makes sense because for all the stoniness of some of the other characters, he is more stone-hearted than really anyone else in that story. Maybe that's the point.
It is just a goddamn shame that they had to call attention to it because now it's woke and therefore we have to hate it.
God, if you thought that was bad, you should try looking at the story we're going to look at after this, but that's a whole other thing.
No, Doctor Who stories before 2018 can't be woke. That doesn't fit my narrative.
I saw a thing where someone had posted an image of Freddie Mercury singing, I think it was at Live Aid, and it was like, no dumb messages, no politics, just great music.
Hello?
Like they had very specifically zoomed in so it was just Freddie. And then someone else posted the full picture.
The full,
it was
from the front.
Fucking, feed Africa, stop AIDS.
Stupid. Anyway, it's interesting the ways that Doctor Who likes to explain psychic abilities. It's always like a tear in the fabric of reality.
Yeah, the Flame of Khan is sort of like that.
The Cardiff Rift is what gave Gwyneth her abilities, and for the briefest of moments, the people of Pompeii got to see into the future because the mountain erupted. I just like that as like an internal logic, like not logic, but it's an internal consistency with justifying magic in this world. It's like it's almost like Vesuvius.
What about psychic paper though? Is that a reality tear paper?
But that's more of a.
That's not a clairvoyance thing. That's just like
that's more of a.
Granted, it's not seeing the future, but it is like.
I see that.
It is still like psychic
Yeah, but
powers.
it's
to
more
it.
about mental
it's-
manipulation, really. It's like mind
Yeah.
control, I think.
It's like a
not
perception
quite.
filter.
Like, it's just called psychic as a colloquialism, I think. It's more like a perception filter, if anything.
Yeah. But like, I like that it's like Vesuvius erupts with the force of 24 nuclear bombs, and it tears open the fabric of reality for a moment, and like the forces that be, like the same cosmic plane that gives the Pantheon their abilities leaks into our reality for a moment and enhances reality, like humans for a bit. I like that as like a consistent explanation for some of these psychics. I think that's an interesting approach, and it leads to that almost like a duel of the psychics where Evelina and Lucius are going back and forth, nailing the aspects of the Doctor and Donna that they shouldn't know. It's pretty effective.
Yeah. Sorry, I just got distracted there. You reminded me of that scene in South Park where the two groups of psychics show up and start fighting each other.
I was not expecting that to be the link. Great. I love being out of the loop. Yeah. I'm trying to think of this. We didn't really talk about the pyroviles and their like crippling allergy to getting the slightest bit wet.
Well, that's okay. That's an interesting thing, actually. Now that you bring it up,
granted, water is 4 times effective on them, being composed of rock and fire. But it still feels a bit like the bucket of water I can get, but like that piddly little water pistol. It feels like water.
Yeah,
water coming out. You can see how thin the stream of water coming out of that thing is. It feels like
smaller,
evaporating.
Smaller scale, like it
close to them.
What if he just switched it to the steam ability, Cuff? What if he just twisted the nozzle a little bit and it was like one of those cleany spray bottle things? It's like a shotgun.
Does he ever use the water pistol
shorter range, wider spread?
Pyrovial?
He does. Like, there's like one moment when he does in the volcano layer.
Right.
And inside there, especially, the water should be evaporating the second it leaves the nozzle.
I guess so.
I mean, the second is a bit extreme. Even for those, if it's evaporating the second it comes out of the gun, one, it should evaporate while it's inside the gun, and also the Doctor and Donna would just melt.
That's true. I was hyperbolizing a bit.
Yeah.
I also have seen people say online before, I've had water pistols like that. The capacity that they've got is like weak at best. And the Doctor,
yes, but it's a Time Lord water pistol.
Yeah, how much?
I was going to say, yeah, big on the inside.
How much water is in that thing?
You don't. It's the same thing as like how the TARDIS, like on the outside, it's the box, but you step into it technically like a pocket dimension to access the engine.
Yeah, like it's
inside the water pistol there's like a link to the ocean, and he's just pulling salt water out of the sea.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Like just an entire episode lost in a water pistol, floating on an ocean, a tiny little boat. Jesus Christ. Anyway, there's something else I wanted to point out about that, is that when I was watching it, I almost... Because when you think of that idea of an alien species getting easily destroyed by an element that's so common to the Earth, I feel like there's almost something ridiculous about that. I think this is one of the things that people might make fun of a movie like Signs for, because the aliens are so easily defeated by water. But the fact is, there are plenty of movies where, and sci-fi creative properties where humans will go on to a different planet where they have to wear space helmets because of the poisonous atmosphere. So why should it not also be? Why should that not also work in reverse? And it doesn't feel silly here. Like, even when the Doctor acknowledges, the world is 70% water out there. What are you going to do? It's still effective, which is quite good.
I will say it is a little bit weird to show a pyrovile disintegrating when they come into contact with water, only to have another character turn around and say it doesn't matter that the oceans exist because water can boil. I feel like you can't have it both ways. Strangely, I might be
I mean, look,
alone in that.
if
In
I'm
that thought,
if I'm an alien and I'm invading Earth, and my weakness is bullets, obviously I don't want to get shot.
yeah,
And if I do get shot, I will die. But I do have the means to, at a certain level, when I've succeeded in my secret alien plan, and I'm able to just instantly convert the entire planet into my planet now, in that process, I'll be like, and then I won't have to worry about guns anymore. So I just have to be a little bit careful for this first bit up until the plan is done.
sure.
And
Also,
that
maybe the
pyrovile
eruption.
didn't stick to the plan.
Didn't stick to the plan.
Maybe the eruption of Vesuvius gives them like enormous powers, not least of all because there's a shit ton of fire and magma and lava just erupting.
Well,
into
remember, the
world.
eruption of Vesuvius is never part of the plan. That's the point.
That's
They're
true.
siphoning the
Yeah.
energy from the volcano to power up their wacky DNA converter.
Or maybe that is enough.
It could be, yeah.
Either way, it doesn't. I don't think it really hurts the story, even if that is a bit of a
Not hugely. I
flaw
still
in
think it's a
logic.
bit.
I guess since we're at that point,
Yeah.
do you think the implication in this episode is that they are stopping Vesuvius from erupting as it was supposed to? Or that it's like a bootstrap paradox thing and Vesuvius never would have erupted if neither the pyroviles nor the Doctor had been involved?
I think it would always have happened based on the language
Yeah,
of the Doctor around how fixed points
Yeah.
work, and especially because the only reason the pyrovals are there is because the Daleks used time travel to take Pyrovilia out of time and space, which wouldn't have happened in the original version of 79 AD. I think the implication is that it was always going to explode. Like the mountain was always going to erupt on. It was just a matter of how.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean,
Yeah.
because the Doctor being involved in fixed points in time, it's happened before. We've seen it happen with the Great Fire of London in The Visitation, for example, which was
The
very strange. But
the destruction of the dinosaurs is a different version of that. He was
and
always
different
involved.
way the sinking of the Mary Celeste in the chase, even though that's more of the Daleks doing, but still. But I think generally you're correct, Cuff. I think it was always going to be a fixed point, and not just because the Time Lords or the Doctor knew it was going to be a fixed point.
I do think it's interesting because the show loves to use fixed points in time. And it's not always clear, and it's never clear, what causes or creates a fixed point. Sometimes, I think the only time they really went into some kind of detail on why a fixed point is in Waters of Mars, when they go into a lot of detail describing because of your death, your family goes out to the stars and it leads humanity on this big adventure that I've seen with my own eyes. And sometimes it is just as simple as, well, I'm a time traveler and I know what my future is now, so I can't avoid it. Here it's not terribly clear. It doesn't really need to be for the story, but I do find it interesting. Or there is a small moment the first time the Doctor says this is a fixed point, where I do find myself in the back of my head going, "Oh, that's convenient." Why would the Time Lords care about Vesuvius? Why would they know this is a fixed point? What makes this a fixed point? But you quickly put that out of your mind because it doesn't really matter.
I guess my justification for that would be it's not so much a fixed point in the grand timeline of all of reality, but the Doctor is like, no, this is a historically significant moment in Earth's history. I shouldn't fuck with it.
Yeah.
And it's just it's on a Like, it's still big scale because it's like, don't fuck with time travel shit, but like, it's only Earth history that's relevant or impacted by it.
But it's also good that, like, I was going to say Martha, Jesus Christ. Donna challenges the Doctor because, like, yes, it's a fixed point in history, and yes, it's not good to fuck around with the timeline, but given he's the only Time Lord left, is it only on his authority that that's the case? And, what does that say about the Doctor and how he views himself and the rest of, life in the universe, really? And obviously that theme gets expanded on later on in Waters of Mars.
I mean, it's not. It's like I said, they don't really go into too much detail, but they do make it clear at certain points throughout the show's run that the Doctor can, to a certain degree, see possible futures in various moments.
Yeah,
like he can see all that is, all that was, and never can be. So it's very possible that he just knows. Oh, if Pompeii survives, then especially in this case, the Pyroviles conquer Earth. But even before that, this could just be a case of because Pompeii wasn't destroyed, Rome has slightly more resources, and so they use that to keep the Roman Empire going longer than it should. And as a result, various families and civilizations and innovations don't come about. And the entire history of Earth changes.
Well, the butterfly effect, I guess that's the point, really.
That kind of thing. Granted,
but at the same time,
we don't know, and we don't need to know.
At the same time, there's like this element of like, no, this is a fixed point, it has to happen this way. But the ending of the episode is, okay, but does everyone dying have to be a fixed point?
Yeah.
What if we just save someone and they go back to the family?
Now's a good time to move on to that. It's the clear, it's what the episode's building towards, this confrontation between the Doctor and Donna in the TARDIS. Vesuvius, first of all, they make the decision to destroy Vesuvius to save the world, which
I quite like as like an inversion of the usual.
I agree.
Fixed point is just like, oh no, this is a fixed point, and that means I have to make it happen and be responsible for killing all these people, even if my hands are tied.
Yeah.
And then to have the moment of Donna also put her hand on the button and be like, I'll take some of the blame, at least. That's all we can really do.
I like that that's especially effective because of how against it that she's been the entire episode. Like, she's been the entire episode being like, you can do something different, you can save these people.
Yeah.
And then when she makes the decision to stand by the Doctor in that moment, even, like, she obviously knows that things are different now. But I like that it's a nice mirror to when the Doctor turns around and saves the family afterwards, because it is like, in both of those moments, each of them is able to understand the other's viewpoint a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it is about the Doctor finding a bit more of humanity through Donna and being less of a all-seeing Time Lord about it. But again, it is just a story of these two friends with different values being able to see through the other's eyes and understand each other more. And it's a stepping stone into these two becoming an S-tier TARDIS team. But we have that moment, and then we get into the TARDIS. Catherine Tate is fucking killing it in her performance, as she often does in these moments. Where she is.
Well, before we even get to the TARDIS, there's that moment of like, she just finds a kid and is like trying to be like, no, I've got to get you out of here.
Go to the hills, don't go to the beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking heartbreaking. Like, being on the ground in Pompeii, seeing all the ash in the sky. I love how these shows always treat ash like snow as well. It's like, no, actually, this stuff is tiny and it gets into your lungs and it chokes you. It's also, incidentally, like, fucking stellar shot of Vesuvius erupting. Like, I think they reused that in a different, like, BBC documentary or something, so they had a bit more budget to put into that shot. But it looks excellent.
Yeah. And it could have looked... like with the special effects that they would have been using, it could have looked a lot worse.
It could have looked significantly worse.
Mm.
But yeah, we had that moment. We're seeing all of our beloved characters we've gotten to know over the course of the 45 minutes, screaming and cowering and hugging their loved ones and you know, running wild in a fruitless endeavor. We see Caecilius and his family just clinging onto each other with nothing else they can do, and the Doctor coldly walking past them to the TARDIS, like with like the weight of the world on his shoulders, knowing or at least thinking that there's nothing he can do. Donna pleading with him to do something, and then the conversation that they have inside the TARDIS. You know, she brings it back to Gallifrey, and there's a moment where he sort of like reaffirms to himself that he's doing the right thing. Like he goes like, you know, I can't do it. I just can't. I can't. And he says the last one to himself instead of to Donna.
He's rationalizing his decision.
Yeah.
And again, with the whole not fucking with the timeline, there is a logic to it, but
there is.
It's really good that we're questioning, well, what authority does the Doctor actually have here? Because all the other Time Lords are all gone. And hell, even if they did exist, the Time Lords really the benefactors of all wisdom when it comes to the timeline? Yes, they can see every outcome, but we've already established that they kind of act like this weird cosmic Praetorian Guard doing what they want, which is not a...
They're so smart, how come they're all dead?
Why did they lie? You know. But yes.
Yes. And it's so fucking great. Both of the actors are killing it. And then Donna says the magic words, just save someone, please, not the whole town, just save someone. And like, it's just as simple as that. That's all you need.
Mm.
Sometimes like that literally is all you need to say. To be like, no, you know what? She's right. This is stupid.
Like, doesn't have to be an everyone lives, but it could at least be a no, but not everyone dies.
And that the Doctor directly can impact that.
Yes. And he chooses to save the people that they got closest to in Pompeii instead of maybe going back for that child.
You're never going to find that kid.
No, you're not going to find him. You know
that kid's probably already dead by the time they get back.
Yeah, you know where Caecilius and his family are. You're going to save them.
Yeah.
It's a good thing he did, otherwise the 12th Doctor would have been a child. But no, the Caecilius gets saved. They watch Pompeii burn from the mountaintops. Again, it's very emotional. It's a very emotive scene. The language that they use, the Doctor is like being like authoritative but kind and like empathetic when he's like describing why all this stuff happened and the future of Pompeii. I need to look up her name because I don't want to do a disservice. Where is it? Tracy Childs and Tracy Childs and Peter Capaldi weep, hugging each other. They're both killing it in the acting department, as Capaldi often does. And it's a really bittersweet ending. And fucking hell, it's so good.
Yep.
And
it shows, I think,
the TARDIS, and the Doctor tells Donna why she's so important. Sometimes I need someone.
Well,
it's a lovely little like, you know what? Good job. It's a lovely little, you know what? Welcome aboard. You deserve to be here. I cannot wait to hopefully go somewhere better next time. Instead, we're going to deal with slavery.
Subtle way of dealing with it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not... Like, I can't think of anything specific, and I hate to harp on about this over and over again, but I swear to God, there were lines in the previous, most recent season that were sort of similar that were not that subtle. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, but it's just interesting to see it, to see lines and ideas expressed in that way for a change, I guess. Also, with Peter Capaldi, the character shows his the breadth of his performance capabilities, I guess, because he's a goofball a lot throughout most of the first half, but by the end, when he is being extremely serious, he's totally convincing, which is really great.
I think I get the sense that Capaldi was cast, and he was like, "Okay, I'm playing a Roman dude. This is going to be my only chance to be in my favorite TV show, Doctor. I'm going to put everything I've got into it." And he was right to do so at the time. Little did we know he would get a second shot at it later down the line. I think we've covered it, right? There's nothing
I think
much
so.
else to say. It's a really it's such an intelligent and like mature script. You know, it takes its time where it needs to. For the subject matter that it deals with, it's allowed to have a bit of wackier moments that really feel like Doctor Who, like the water pistol and the Doctor pulling the gold coin out from behind old mate's ear. You know, it basically ticks every box, and honestly, like, again, this is episode 2.
Yeah.
I'm giving this a
season
9.
of bangers. You give your score first, Sam. I'm still thinking it over.
Oh, Cuff's already given his, but
Yeah, so
I'm
your
gonna
turn,
say an 8.
Oh.
I think I'm
points for you?
I think I'm also gonna give it an 8. When I watched it, I'm
Oh!
like, there's no way I can give it anything less than an 8. But when I think of 9s, I'm thinking you know, stuff like Genesis of the Daleks, which, flawed though some of it is, just kind of impressed me a bit more than this. Granted, again, that might also just be because we're in a season of, you know, almost back-to-back bangers, as Sam pointed out.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm gonna tentatively give that an 8.
I can't believe that. We had basically nothing negative to say. And an 8.
Well, there's nothing wrong with, like, there are like 4 out of 5s that are not quite like there's nothing wrong with them. There's just nothing that's so good they become a 5 out of 5, you know?
Sure.
Remember,
I think it's just one of those.
In Doctor Who, 7 is an average.
Alright. I mean, I guess I can't.
That's not in Doctor Who. That's in all online discussion about rating things on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
Anything below 7 is unwatchable garbage.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Well, we've covered this one then. I don't think I'm gonna bother asking you, Sam, if there's anything you want to say at the end of these, because you're gonna run out.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna be here so often. I think we can hold off on like giving you like a.
I already said the only thing last time, and there's a good chance that's not even going to get uploaded in time. So, like,
it won't.
Yeah, exactly.
But next time, all 3 of us are going to be back, and we're going to be discussing the first Doctor story, The Ark.
Lovely,
Until then,
lovely.
I'm Alex.
I'm Fitz.
I'm Sam.
And Vene Vidi Vici.